answer questions or concerns that you may have. So what I want to do is to share with you just sort of I will go through some of the updates on COVID-19. I'm sure everyone is in tune with what's going on. Here at FAMU, before you return, making sure that you get tested within 5 days. That's the requirement or expectation from everyone. And we do have a COVID-19 testing site, which is at the Bragg Station, and I'm sorry, Bragg Stadium. If you're not in town, you need to visit your state testing website to see where the locations might well be. If you're in Tallahassee, COVID-19 is the place to go. In not short distance, all members at FAMU will be required to, expected at the minimum, to do screening before you come on campus using the FAMU mobile app that gives you the self-screening tool before you hit campus. I believe the schedule for testing for everyone between January and March should be out now. So if you were to visit the FAMU COVID-19 website, it should give you the dates as to when you as students should be able to go to might be able to go to Bragg Stadium to do your COVID-19 testing. But this slide here sort of give you an overview of the updates currently that we have. One, there's the expectation that within 5 days, if you plan to come back to campus, make sure you get tested. If you're not on campus or in Tallahassee, you visit your state website for that purpose. Using the COVID-19 mobile app that has a screening tool for COVID-19 is an expectation for all FAMU members. And of course, finally, there's going to be some schedule for periodic testing for everyone this spring, starting January to March. So look out for that schedule already out there on the FAMU COVID-19 website. In particular, for a student, you got to be familiar with our degree programs. Our curriculum map is so easy to go through. So we've developed curriculum map to guide students understand what degree, what courses they need to be taking. So this is the PhD curriculum map. For the graduate students, I'm sure some of you already know this. Some of the first year students, this may not be so familiar for you, but this is what you must do so understanding your curriculum map for your degree is key for success here at the School of the Environment. So these are just trying to reiterate the things, information that you may already know. This being in spring, for some of you, this is your last semester. For some of you, this may be your second semester. So it's important that you know what courses that you have to take and making sure you are speaking with your advisor, making sure you have your courses in place. These are some of the details of that PhD program. You should have these brochures on our website, and Ms. Taylor has this already. For the master's degree as well, I'm just showing this show and tell, showing you, just making sure you are aware of this, that you need to know about this, that you need to know what classes that you must be taking, and making sure that you're enrolling at the right classes. These are some of the details of the master's degree. And of course, you have the BS degree in environmental sciences. Right. And some of the details in that brochure. And of course, you have the BS degree in environmental studies. Then of course, the details for that is there as well. Now, usually when students graduate, for the undergraduates, the first 2 years, you've been advised by Julian Bond, Ms. Julian Bond, who's not a staff member at the School of Environment. Then you transfer to the school in your junior year, primarily. At that point, you need to be speaking with Dr. Elijah Johnson on what classes you need to be taking. So that should be your next stop after you've been advised by Julian Bond. Coming to the school, Dr. Elijah Johnson sort of is the holding place, is the place to go if you're looking for advisement for the undergraduate degrees. But before I get into that, all students gotta know the kinds of research that are prevalent that we have in the school. You gotta know who's doing what. Do they have funds? Do they have grants? That you gotta know. The areas include microbial ecosystems, biotechnology research, microbial ecosystem, biotech research. The individuals, faculty members that are there include Ashwini Chauhan, Dr. Williams, Henry Williams, myself, this is my research area as well. Michael Martinez is there as well. Dr. Jago also is in this group. For coastal and marine ecosystems, Michael Martinez is there. Of course, our president is the PI, is the principal investigator for the Center for Coastal and Marine Ecosystems Research. In that group, you have Dr. Michael Zingi. And then you have Michael Colon Martinez. Dr. Jago, at some point, used to be, I'm not sure, Dr. Jago, if you're still in this group or not, but Dr. Jago is also has research interest in this area as well. Aquatic and terrestrial ecology, Dr. Martinez, Dr. Jago. To some degree, I have some interest in that area as well. And all the way through for environmental policy, you have Dr. Owens, Dr. Richard Gregg, and many of us have research that connect with policy as well. Dr. Charles Jago has research interests that connect with policy as well. So for many of us, while we're in the science section, we do have connections with environmental policy as well. The Energy, Water, Food Nexus research area is me, Dr. Jago is there, Ashwini Chauhan is there as well. So these are some of the broad areas of research that we have within the school. We also have centers such as the Center for Spatial Ecology and Restoration, which is on the 4th floor. That's where the office is located. Geospatial research. We have so many cool things happening with this, with the center. So much going on. Very, very, very interesting progress on this. We have fundings. We have partnership with Microsoft with our AI for Earth proposal grant, Artificial Intelligence for Earth. That's what the proposal grant is called. That's in partnership with Microsoft. We have primarily our work deals, the center deals, I'm also the director of the center with my partners from USDA Forest Service. We have Christy Crandall is one of our students in this center. We have undergraduates in there. We have close to maybe 3, 4 graduate students and some undergraduates in the center. And maybe Christy, let me just even give you sort of a sneak preview of this. If Christy is still, are you there, Christy?
Yes.
Yeah, could you just give a snapshot of what your work is, to give students an idea what your work is about?
What my dissertation work is?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been working with the Center for Spatial Ecology and Restoration on a project to try to increase fresh water in the Apalachicola region. The region has for like 100 years been pine plantation, mostly and logged, and it's still predominantly in pine land cover. And so there's a lot of research on methods to increase water yields by decreasing vegetation basal area, specifically pine forest basal area. So my project has been to discover a way to reduce pine basal area, and well, not discover a way to do that, but to increase water yields by changing the pine basal area in the Apalachicola region and quantifying it. And so I've been able to quantify, I mean, you know, these are estimates, but by watershed, HUC 12 watershed, and by forest management department number. And I've also been able to identify places that can be focused in on at the forest, almost like the tree stand level, using some clustering analysis hotspot. It's called the GEDIS ORDG hotspot analysis. So anyway, that's in a nutshell what I'm doing to try to increase fresh water in the Apalachicola region.
Thank you, Ms. Christie. I didn't give you heads up, but you were able to do it right away. As I'm going to have, let me continue with this. So that sort of gives you an overview of what some of our students are doing with the center. There's a lot of opportunities there for geographical information systems, kinds of tools. We have LiDAR, we have drone mapping. This is all we do at the center. And our new partnership with Microsoft is giving us a lot of wind here. We have some funds, expecting some funds from Restore Act, just interesting center. If you need to know more about this, get in touch with me. I will connect you to the right folks in the center. And then some of the expectations of students are very simple. Can I know your academic programs we have just shared with you, know the details of the curriculum map, know what resources that we have within the school, know the research areas I just talked about, just briefly summarized it. And then you want to ask yourself, how do I advance in my research area? Because that's key. How do you advance in my research area? Let's pause here. How do you advance in your research areas, to me, is this. When you, by now, let me start with the graduate students. By now, for all of you, even if you're a first year student, you ought to have at least a research advisor right now. If you don't have that, you're late. So you should have a research advisor that will help you, work with you on your academics and on your research. That's one. And you need to continue to push for your committee members within your research area to schedule meetings to speak about where you are with your perspectives and how you're advancing in it. That's key. For the undergraduate students, you gotta know, what are my degree? What are my, we have environmental sciences, environmental studies. What are my requirements? What research should I be doing? Because at the end of the day, you gotta be graduating with some research with you. You're marketable that way for graduate school or for the job or for the mark of a workplace. Getting job, showing that you have research experience is so key. And of course, going to graduate school for the undergraduates, that's important as well. So how do you advance in your research means knowing what research areas, knowing your academic programs, knowing what resources that can support you in those efforts. Now, these are a summary of our degree programs, the BS degree in environmental sciences, environmental studies, BS degree. We have both the BA and BS for the environmental studies. Of course, we have the MS degree for the environmental sciences and the PhD as well. Coming soon, hopefully, we will have a new PhD in sustainability science coming up. Hopefully, keep our fingers crossed. coming up fall of 2021. The university has approved 2 new faculty lines. So far, 1 line, we hope to be advertising for positions, for a position for the assistant professor in sustainability science. Hopefully we'll get this person on board to help us jumpstart the new degree in sustainability science. So that's coming up. So that's pretty new. For some of you who may be in your first year, you know, it might, once you understand what the area is all about, you know, you can find ways to make that relevant to you. That will be up to you. But that's a new degree coming up to the school that we've been working so hard to make sure we're creating opportunities for our students to advance their degrees. And of course, what does student success mean? Simple, for the undergraduate 4-year graduation, it means that you have to have at the minimum 3.0 during your sophomore year. Once you're in that range, it sort of in many ways helps you to meet your target of 4-year graduation for your undergraduate. For the master's, not more than 2.5 or 2 to 3 years for the master's degree. And of course, at the PhD, 4 to 5 years. Now, this is sort of the framework we have, and we're asking students, how do you meet this goal? It really depends on your ability to understand your research, your academic program, the curriculum map, which I just kind of went through with you right now, and some of the contacts we have at the school. For Dr. Johnson is the advisor. Once you get through with your external advisor from Julian Bond, Dr. Johnson is the place to go for the undergraduate students for both the environmental sciences and environmental studies. Dr. Jago is here. Dr. Jago, are you here, please? I believe us. Dr. Jago.
Yep, I'm here. I was muted.
Thank you, Dr. Jago. Dr. Jago serves as the holding place again for graduate students who may or may not have had a research advisor. But the expectation is that you as a graduate student need to be take charge of where you want, who would you want to work with, understand their research. Do they have funds to support you or not? What research area? Once you get that, if you don't have that in place right away, Dr. Jago, who serves as the graduate coordinator, is your holding place. Dr. Jago, very, very versed in all the programs within the school, and also has great research area of interest that might excite you, serves as the holding place for you until you find a house, quote unquote, a house for continuing your research and graduate program. Within the school also we have Joe Blunt, Mr. Blunt, who is the student success coordinator for the undergraduate students. If anything fails, if looking for answers, questions, what do I do, what do I know? Whatever you need that cannot be answered immediately, say by Dr. Johnson, you're making sure Joe Blunt is there. So it's one resource we have within the school. Sadiki Perry, graduate support fund, anything that relates to questions about funding support. Do I have or do I not have? What can we do? You talk to him, he talks to me, and then in many instances, we get it happen. Let me also say that, of course, Hazel Taylor, if everything else fails, you don't know where to go. Ms. Taylor is always there. If everything else fails, you talk to me. I don't want to have a situation where students say, I don't know where to go. I don't know who to talk to. You do know where to talk to. Come to me. Any question, students who know me know that if you come to me, I do my best to provide you with answers. But you got to talk to these individuals in the school. We're making sure that everyone is supported. I must say that for all of our graduate students, everyone within the school have support one way or the other. That's something that you cannot say with the other graduate schools or academic programs here at FAMU. We work hard in making sure that our graduate students have support. It's not a very easy task. Getting tuition waived and getting assistantships. So that's one of the pride of our school, making sure we all get supported. COVID-19 has sort of, I must tell you, I must really confess to you, it's been a setback for the undergraduate research because we couldn't do the kinds of things we want to do on face-to-face. It's really difficult to do anything remote research-wise, as you know it. But we, that's been the case. We want to make sure that we do everything we can to have alternative ways to provide research experiences to the undergraduate students. For the past 1-2 weeks now, I've been getting a lot of information about internships and summer internships. That's just two that I think is so important that just came out. I'm going to be speaking with the coordinator of that program. These are for seniors in particular, for individuals, even for graduate students, by the way, for summer research experience. That must be something that every one of you might jump in because they're going to pay about $8,000, I believe, for, I guess, for the undergraduates. It could be more for the graduate students. So I will be having the meeting with this coordinator this afternoon after this seminar to learn more, to see how we can really position our students to do so. Dow has just sent out an internship applications out. I just saw the email before I came to this link to this seminar presentation. Dow Chemical will also be accepting internship experiences for the undergraduate students. They may well as well do so for the graduate students as well, but I'll find out a little bit more. I just saw the prompt before coming up on this presentation. So let me just pause here now and see who may have, let's just talk and see who may have questions, anything I can answer. We can talk through this.